Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You all know my name's Chat. Take a dive into sports. And welcome to my Week 1 college football preview video where I get to cover 10 games. They're going to be the ones I'm going to choose upon. I'll throw in some extra ones, little bonus games you might want to keep an eye on as well. Should be kind of interesting as I'm trying to fumble with, my earplugs here. And last week I actually went 7-3 in my 10 picks. So right now I'm 9-5 overall in the season because I went 2-2 in week 0. But all my extra picks only went 2-4. So those games could go kind of either way with me. But before we dive into all that action, if you could, go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me. Especially like content provider really pleases YouTube guys. So check it out. You also subscribe. A lot of you guys review my work, and I love you all for doing that. Not many of you subscribe because do it down. That's me providing more time and value for you. So let's go ahead and start off with a preview of what will happen in a couple years. You'll have the Crimson Tide heading to Austin to take on the Longhorns. That's right. Remember, Texas is heading to the SEC in a couple years. So try and see to get there a little early to avoid all the new members coming in. They don't want, I guess, Texas Oklahoma want that to dilute their reputation, I guess. Or get beat by UCF and BYU. I don't know, but that's the only reason I can think of. But they'll be hosting Alabama, and this is going to be the true test for Hoovers right there in Texas. And he didn't really look that impressive against Louisiana Monroe. He only had 225 yards passing, 2 Ds and an interception. Bryce Young is looking to become a repeat Heisman Trophy winner. First time since Earl Campbell. He only had 195 yards passing, but he had 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. He even had 100 rushing yards with a TD. So it's going to be hard pressed for Texas to contain Alabama in this game. I think it's going to be a complete one-sided affair, and Texas might want to rethink their decision of joining the SEC. But they won't because, they got all that money going there. Alabama's favored by 20 right now. I don't think it's going to be that much. I think it's probably at least be 17. I think 20 is a bit much. But it's definitely going to be one-sided, and it's going to be Alabama all day long. Another one that's going to look pretty interesting is you have Tennessee heading up to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh looked actually halfway decent against West Virginia last week. They definitely have some discipline issues on the Panther side. And Tennessee, well, they blew out Ball State, so there's nothing really to hang your hat on right now to say, hey, this is a good Tennessee team, even though they cracked the top 25. And, there's not really much else there. But Slovis had over 300 yards passing against West Virginia, while Hooker had over 200 yards, 2 TDs. He was replaced by Milton, who had another 100 yards on touchdown. So looks like Tennessee does have a couple quarterbacks that actually do quite well. The running attack looks a little better, but you got to look at the quality of the defenses they took on. So this one, it's kind of... I'm kind of torn between the two because I didn't think Pittsburgh would be as good as they were this year. And they're actually proving me wrong so far. Defense-wise, Pittsburgh looked pretty good. There's definitely some question marks there defensively. Kind of torn on which way to kind of go on this one. So right now, Tennessee's favored by 6. And I think it's just more the hype for SEC than anything else. But I am going to go with Pitt on this one to knock off Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's quite there yet, but I have a feeling they're in the right ballpark. They're moving in the right direction. So we'll just kind of see how things kind of play out here from here on out. Next one on the docket is going to be Washington State heading into Camp Randall Stadium in there in Madison, Wisconsin to take on the Badgers. Badger. And with this one, yeah, right now Wisconsin's favored by 17, and overall I think Wisconsin's built pretty good. I mean, Mertz didn't have a great passing game, but he didn't have to. He only had 219 yards, a touchdown, 14 16 passing. Allen was just a beast, 2 yards shy of 150 yards. He had total 2 touchdowns. But for Washington State, they're no slouch either. Ward had 215 passing with 3 touchdowns, and Watson has 117 yards total. Tech seems to do quite well, but didn't quite get into the end zone. It did more to passing. And I think Wisconsin can be able to bend but don't break mentality and end up winning. 17, no. Maybe close to 10, maybe 14 at the most, but I don't think they win by 17. All right, next is a old Southwest clash. And it's University of Houston will head up to Lubbock to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And this should be a really high-flying offensive matchup between these two. They always seem to be very aerial-centric offenses. Toon only had 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, and his previous outing against UTSA. Smith was just shredding. He had 4 touchdowns. Then Schaff came in, threw another touchdown. He had Morton come in. He threw a touchdown. He also had a pick. So there's definitely going to be some aspects. The running attack at either side of kind of meh. But like I said, these are aerial attacks. And with Houston making that comeback against UTSA, it kind of showed their tenacity and their ability to come back. Right now, Tech is favored by 4. And I have a feeling that Houston will do another miraculous comeback. I think it's going to probably be the last miraculous comeback they might have, maybe. But I also have Houston being the group of 6 representative, so I got to give them that good marquee win against a power school, and this will be it. I think Houston sneaks out against Texas Tech with a 3-point win. Virginia heading to Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini. As you see in the little corner over here, I got that Illini hat, and up over here I got a couple of their helmets. So a little bit of an Illini fan. Of course, I'm more of an Irish fan than anything else, but I like the fact that Bellamy, the head coach, he got a right place. He was a great coach for Wisconsin. Brought that program back up to national prestige, where they're always in talks about winning the Big Ten. And for Illinois, they've had glimpses of what they can do. I mean, you saw what they did against Wyoming. Indiana, their defense just gave up, it seems like. So I think right there for the Illini is their Achilles heel is the defense and the consistency of the offense. Now, Virginia is going to be a very huge test for them. Armstrong had 246 yards with 2 touchdowns, but he also threw a pick. They also had 200-yard rushers. So it's the running attack that the Illini is going to have to try to stifle. They have shown they can do very good against the run attack, but they're also susceptible to, kind of trick plays a bit. So we kind of see how that one kind of plays out. Chase Brown for the Illini. So far, he has 350 yards in the season. And DeVito has 400 yards in the air, 4 TDs and a touchdown in 2 games. Right now, the Illini are favored by 4, and I think that's a bit much. Because it always seems when the Illini is favored, they always seem to lose. That just tends to be their thing. I am still going with the Illini, but it's not going to be by 4. I think it's going to be more like 2. They're going to be able to sneak out sneak out with a victory against Virginia. That thing that a lot of people are going to look at is going to be another interesting one. Is Old Dominion will head down to Greenville, North Carolina, take on the Pirates of East Carolina. And as you know, the Pirates had that great comeback against NC State, but their kicker ended up missing 4 points, which cost them the game. And Old Dominion shocked everyone by knocking off Virginia Tech at home. So these are 2 programs that actually look pretty good, even though one got the victory, one didn't. Right now, East Carolina's favored by 12.5. I don't think it'll be that much. I think it's going to be like a 10-point win, but I do believe East Carolina's going to come out on top of that one. All right, next up, we're heading back to the Swamp where Florida now play host to Kentucky to kick off SEC play for both universities. And Florida got lucky against Utah. I'm just going to say that right now. Because Richardson, passing-wise, was terrible. He only had 168 yards in the air. He only completed 17 of his 24 passes, but it was his rushing attack that stifled the Utes. Richardson at 100 yards, 3 TDs out the ground, and Johnson ended up having 75 and a touchdown. But for Kentucky, it's an aerial attack that's going to test that Florida secondary. Levis had 300 yards, 3 TDs, and an interception last week, with Robinson being his top receiver, 136 yards. But he had no touchdowns. So Robinson is the key aspect to that aerial attack, but he's not the only target they have. The only down play with the Wildcats offense is their lack of a running attack, and that could make the Florida defense really single-minded. It's like if they could just blanket the airways, shut down the aerial attack with a good defense, then it's just a matter of time before the defensive line and the other rushers get to the quarterback. Oops is just a great coach. Anyways, he'll find a way to revitalize his team. We did pretty well last year, so definitely one of those things you got to look at. Napier is built a new aspect there in the Swamp, bring that Cajun tenacity, going from the bayou to the Swamp. But right now Florida's favored by 6.5. I'm going to once again pick the road team to come into the Swamp and win. I think the Wildcats will have just enough bite to take care of the Gators and kind of stifle their little ability right now. Nothing against them, nothing against Florida. I think Florida's going to find themselves doing pretty good here eventually, but I'm going to go with Kentucky. And then another one people are not going to look at is a pair of 0-1 teams looking to rebound from last week's disappointment. And that's Boston College taking on Virginia Tech in their Plattsburgh. And, it's a different environment there in Blacksburg when they, blast Metallica. As the team comes out, they get hyped. Crowd's hyped. And they got to shake that ODU loss and start new. BC has got to shake that loss out against Rutgers. So both these teams are looking to correct their ship, get that victory, especially a key conference win. So what's going to happen is both quarterbacks need to watch out for their erratic throws. They got to be more accurate. I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to try to pronounce it. Is Jukovic had 2 interceptions while Wells ended up having 4 for Virginia Tech. They need to clean that up. Virginia Tech rushing attack was actually very good. King had over 100 yards rushing, and Wells actually had the only rushing touchdown. Receiving-wise, Flowers for BC is part of the prime target. He had over 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. So as long as we can go about that one. BC defensively did very well against Rutgers towards the end. And Virginia Tech had no answer for Old Dominion. So this is going to be, I think, a very good matchup between a pair of 0-1 teams looking to go 500, kind of save their season. All right, another future preview of a future conference matchup. Baylor will now head out to Provo to take on BYU. It's going to be the new Holy War in the Big 12. And we'll kind of see how this one kind of goes. BYU looks like they always seem to retool themselves, so nothing really different there. Baylor looked pretty good against their weak at the point hitting as well. Because right now, Shampin had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in his debut, while Hall had 261 yards, 2 TDs, but he also had a pick. Rushing wise, it's Brooks out of BYU with a touchdown. Nako had actually 2 touchdowns, so it's BYU's rushing attack that Baylor's got to worry about. And Baylor's key rusher is Reese. He had 62 yards, 2 TDs. And BYU's got to find some way to shut down Baldwin from being the primary target, because he had some pretty big gains. He had 4 catches for 84 yards. So this is one of the things you kind of watch out for. You kind of not have Baldwin get behind and get in between, the linebackers and the safeties. You got to play a little tight. But I think this is going to be a marquee game for BYU to kind of need this one to kind of say, hey, there's a reason why we're going to the Big 12. We are a good school. And I think overall, not no people are going to doubt that. But I am going to take, right now BYU is favored by 3. And I like those odds right there. And I will take it. I'll take BYU by 3. And one that I don't think many people are going to look at either is Mississippi State heading out to Tucson to take on the Wildcats of U of A. Arizona went to the brand new Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego, and knocked off the Aztecs. This is not the same Arizona team as from last year. There's no slouch to Pac-12 programs, because he used to be the head coach at Washington State, so he knows all about Arizona. But Rogers is going to be a key factor in this one, because he had 450 yards of 5 touchdowns last week, and it's dismantling of Memphis. And it's just, I think Mississippi State is going to ground or bring down the Wildcats back down to earth from their nice win against San Diego State. Deloria should have a pretty good game. He was 1 yard short of 300 yards, but he had 4 TDs. But I don't see him having that type of game this time around. So I think it's Mississippi State's going to be way too much. Rogers just shredding the Arizona secondary, and I think Mississippi State's going to end up winning. Right now, Mississippi State favored by 10.5. I'll take that. I'll go more. I'll go more than that one. I think Mississippi State is going to probably win by 14 on this occasion. Well, those are my 10. We'll kind of see how this one kind of plays out. So my extra ones kind of look out for is Oregon State will head to Fresno, take on the Bulldogs there. Now, last week I thought Boise State can go into Corvallis and knock off the Beavers. And the Beavers decided that no, we're a lot better what you think. And they crushed the Broncos. It's going to be a true test for Fresno State. Right now, Oregon State's only favored by 1. I'll take the Fresno State on this one. I think they're going to bring Oregon State as well back down to earth, much like Mississippi State's going to do with Arizona. I think Fresno State's going to do the same thing. Oregon State, bring them back down, and we'll kind of go from there. Another Pac-12 program, Arizona State, will now head out to Stillwater to take on the Cowboys. Right now, Cowboys are favored by 12.5, and as much as I would like to pick Arizona State, but I don't know. I think it's just going to be too much Oklahoma State for this one. Sanders had 400 yards, 4 touchdowns in his last outing, but it's the Arizona State running attack that should make things interesting. Right now, Oklahoma State's favored by 12.5. I think it's going to be closer in that one. So if you want to take Arizona State for the points, I will go that way. But overall winner, it's definitely going to be the Cowboys. Another one's going to be UAB and Liberty. This should be a very interesting matchup, as both these programs look like they've kind of retooled. So right now, UAB is favored by 6. And I'm going to give this slight edge to UAB. I don't think it's going to be 6. I think it's going to be at least 3. But definitely a game you can probably look out for and should provide some viable entertainment value. First, we're going to be heading to undefeated Vanderbilt. I mean, that's going to be a interesting one. Right now, Wake is favored by 12.5. The way that Vandy defense is, I might go more Vandy than anything else. App State going to take on Texas A&M. Texas A&M's favored right now by 20. No. I'm sorry, but no. It's App State. App State doesn't lose by that. They lose by less than that. So I will take App State for the points. I still think the Aggies are going to win, but it's not going to be by 20. Maybe 14 at the most, but definitely not 20. Colorado take on Air Force. That'd be a unique one there. Air Force right now is favored by 18. It's quite generous for a military academy to be favored by that much. But yeah, I think Air Force can knock off Colorado, but this will probably be like 10. So take Colorado for the points. The battle for the Cy Hawk Trophy. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't look at this one prior, but this should be another interesting matchup. Iowa had a baseball game against South Dakota State. It was like a 7-5 game. I mean, it's ridiculous. They couldn't do anything offensively. Right now, Iowa's favored by 3.5. I don't know. Wait, Iowa play against South Dakota State. I have a feeling Iowa State could go in there and win. I really do. I think it's definitely going to be a fun game to watch. Whoever comes out and wins the Cy Hawk Trophy. But I'm going to go Iowa State on that one. Then USC will start off Pac-12 play against Stanford. Right now, the Trojans are favored by 8.5. The way they looked last week and looked pretty good, but they didn't face any stiff competition. They're not really going to get it this week either against Stanford. I think Stanford will give them some fight because it is a state rivalry. But I think USC is going to be too much once again. And yeah, I'll go say at least an 8-point victory. So yeah, but I think the Trojans are trending in the right direction. They will stumble eventually, but right now they're flying kind of high. And that's basically it for my games. I kind of went over a little bit more games than I really wanted to, but there are a lot of key matchups pulling up there that I find kind of interesting. So I got Bama beating Texas, Pitt over Tennessee, Wisconsin knocking off Washington State, Houston upsetting Texas Tech, Illinois edging out Virginia, East Carolina over Old Dominion, Kentucky winning in the swamp against Florida, BC going to 500, knocking off Virginia Tech, BYU winning their future matchup against Baylor, and Mississippi State winning in the desert of Arizona. Some of the other games kind of I look at this, the Cy Hawk Trophy game between Iowa State, Iowa, Oklahoma State over Arizona State, Fresno State, grounding Oregon State. I mean, this was some of those fun games there. But hey, just let me know down below which game you're looking for this weekend to kind of see who maybe start seeing some of the separations of some of the haves and have-nots, but not really. It's still early in the season. There's a lot of things that can happen and transpire. So we'll kind of see how things play out. But just let me know down below what you're looking forward to. While you're there, just let me know which pick you think I got completely wrong. Once you make those comments, you go hit that thumbs up once again. You can also share this video with friends or family. It really helps promote this channel. When you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell. That'll notify you next time I post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.